Hello everyone, thank you for joining our today's webinar. Let's wait for like a couple of minutes to let more people join and then we will get started. So before we start, if you have, while I'm speaking and explaining about our topic today, if you have any question, just feel free to write in the chat box and we will answer you, of course. We will do it like interactive webinar. We will have a question and answer session, of course. So feel free to ask any questions you have. So I think we can start, right? Our topic today is an introduction about the new drone from DJI Enterprise, which is this one, the Mavic 3 Enterprise series. Our topics will be an introduction to DJI Enterprise technology in general, and then we will get in deep with the new series, what are the features, where we can use them, and so on. And last but not least, we will have a case studies about where we can use this drone and how we can use it. And of course, last thing, we will have a question and answer session. So let's get started. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Yahya and I work at Advanced Media. Advanced Media is a company in Dubai. It's the bigger suppliers for the drone solutions, for the broadcast and the professional video and photo equipment in the region, in the Middle East and North Africa. And we are the authorized dealer for DJI Enterprise. We've been dealing with DJI since 2013 from the beginning. And we have the dedicated service center as well for the DJI Enterprise brand and for the other brands as well. About DJI, for the ones who don't know, DJI is a Chinese company started in 2006. They were in basic things like the flight controller units, and then time by time in 2012 they introduced the first kit, the first drone kit that you will assemble it by yourself. And in 2013 it was they released the first all-in-one photography drone. It was the Phantom series in the world. It was the first all-in-one drone with a camera solution from DJI. Then time by time in 2022 now they have different divisions, different categories for the camera stabilization systems, for the audio, for the transmission system, and of course for the drone. Here we are focusing about the DJI Enterprise. Enterprise means for the advanced applications, as we will see in the next slides. For any drone solution, we have three main things to have in any drone solution. So we will be in need for the platform, which is the drone body. We will be in need for the payload, which is the camera or the sensor, that sometimes it's built in with the drone, like this drone, the Mavic 3, or sometimes we will have to mount it by hand to the drone, like the Matrice 300 series. And the last part is the software. We have two sides. The first side is to the software for mission planning, and the other side is for post-processing or processing the data, if needed, of course. And of course, the software, if needed, the live streaming software. We have a solution as well from DJI. We will mention it in the next slides. As an enterprise from DJI, now there are several drones, several solutions. Each one of them we can deploy them for an application, if I may say. So from the top left, we have the Mavic 2 and Mavic 3 Enterprise. They are we can describe them as the portable solution. And in the right side, we have the Phantom 4 series, which is in the mid-size. We can use it for the rapid mapping solutions. And at the bottom, we have the more advanced drones, the M3E series and the Matrice 300 RTK. Okay, so if I want to introduce the Mavic 3 Enterprise series, I will describe it as it's light and portable. And this thing is really important to have because in a lot of the cases, we will be in need to deploy the drone if it's an urgent case. We will need to deploy the drone as soon as possible. We don't need to have like 3 to 4 minutes to mount it, like the case of the Matrice 300, the bigger drone. With this one, with the Mavic 3 Enterprise series, you can see from the video, it's a backpack size. It's small, it's portable. It weighs almost 900 grams. For the both versions. So it is practical in this way, in the fast deployment. You can, like in 10 seconds, put it in the ground and fly it. So this is really important for a lot of different scenarios and a lot of people, of course. So for the Mavic 3 Enterprise, DJI introduced 2 versions, one called the Mavic 3 Enterprise T, and the other is Mavic 3 Enterprise E. So I have here with me the Mavic 3 Enterprise T, but unfortunately I don't have the normal the E version. But they are almost the same. The difference is in the camera specs. We will be mentioning the differences in the next slides, of course. So the good thing with this drone is it's portable, as I said. The battery is powerful comparing to the old versions. The camera specs are really, really advanced now. The thermal camera has been enhanced, and the zooming, of course, we have the zooming camera, the really good zooming camera, and the new enhanced transmission system, and new accessories to add to the drone as well. All of these details we will be mentioning one by one in the next slides, of course. So let me start with the differences between the Mavic 3E and the Mavic 3T. Okay, if you are wondering what is this, this is the Mavic 3, the normal Mavic 3, the cinematic drone. It looks almost the same design, but as I mentioned, there are a little bit of enhancement to make it an enterprise drone, to make it an industrial drone. But yeah, they looks the same, almost the same weight as well. So get back to the Enterprise series, we have the E version and we have the T version. So the E version, if we can see from the closed-up shot here, the drone, the camera, this is the T version, okay? So we have the thermal camera, we have a tele camera, and we have a wide-angle camera. So a thermal camera and a hybrid dual system RGB cameras, whereas in the E version we don't have the thermal solution. We only have the RGB cameras, which is the wide angle, and the tele camera for the detailed zooming. Both of them you will be using them for different applications. What are the applications? Let's see in the next slides. So the wide camera of the Mavic 3E, it has a very big sensor size comparing to the old versions, 4x3-inch CMOS, 12 megapixel, and the good thing is they increased the pixel size to the 3.3 micrometer, and this is really good because the bigger the pixel size, the more light and the more color the photo will be during, even if it's like somehow low light environment. And the new thing, they add the mechanical shutter, which is really good for avoiding the rolling shutter, the distortion which will happen if the drone is moving fast or in high speed. So it's a really good add-ons to the drone for the mechanical shutter. And the other game changer thing as well is the interval, the photo interval, or how quick the drone can take a photo. It's 0.7 seconds. It's almost the same as it's the same as the Matrice 300 with the P1. So imagine if the drone is flying in a speed of 15 meters per second, okay? In this speed, the drone will be able to take 21 photos in the covered area or covered distance. Whereas in the Mavic 2 Enterprise, it was 2.5 seconds per photo. So each 2.5, I will take one photo. So in 15 meters per second, you will cover only like 6 or 7 photos. So just imagine the differences. Of course, the drone can take the RTK module as an accessory. We will be mentioning this in details in the next slide. So this is for the E version only. So the wide camera on the E version is different on the wide camera in the T version. So again, the telecamera, we have both telecameras, both of the versions sharing the same specs of the telecamera. It's 12 megapixel telecamera and it supports 56 hybrid zooming, enabling the long distance inspection and scouting. So this is really useful in scenarios where we want to inspect, but we don't want to get close to the object. So the telecamera specs is half-inch CMOS size, 12 megapixel, and 56 hybrid zoom. We have 1 to 7 from the wide angle camera, and then from 7 to 56 we are using the telecamera. Another thing as an add-ons to the T version is the synchronized split screen. So when we have the thermal view, we can open a side-by-side view in the controller, okay? So we will have a better observation about the scenario. So we can enable something called synchronization zooming. So we will zoom in the thermal camera and in the telecamera. It will be synchronized together up to 28x. So this is really useful as well. The thermal camera has been enhanced. The resolution is 640 by 512, 30 hertz as a frequency. And the uses of the thermal camera are known. We can use them in public safety, in inspection, in monitoring, for example. So there are a lot of usage for the thermal camera, as we can see from this video. And the thermal camera is only, as I said, is only in the T version, the Mavic 3T, Enterprise T. What else? We have the enhanced image transmission system. It's called now O3 Enterprise, O for OcuSync. This is a system developed by DJI. It's almost like if we want to compare it or make it easier for us to understand, it's almost the same as a Wi-Fi, but it's way more strong and way more powerful, because the distance that can be covered is like 15 kilometers. Like imagine you will be able to fly the drone up to 15 kilometers from your place. So it's not like comparable to the Wi-Fi, of course. So this is the O3 Enterprise transmission system. It's the same as the M30. It's using the same transmission system as the M30 drone. What else? We have the enhanced safety, which is the most major things that the pilots are caring about. Is the drone is safe to fly? Well, yes, because the drone, the Mavic 3 Enterprise series, has the omnidirectional obstacle sensor from all the sides, which will increase the safety of the drone, of course. And not only this, the drone is boosted as well with smart algorithms, if I may say, to boost the safety of the drone. We will see what are these algorithms in the next slides. But yes, we have now the omnidirectional obstacle sensors. And I have now something called advanced RTH. What is RTH? Is return to home. So imagine a scenario that the drone is away and you don't want to like fly it manually to your taking off point or to the home point. there is a button, a physical button here. It's called Return to Home. So once you click it, the traditional ways was the drone will climb in a preset altitude, like you will adjust it, you will put it in the settings. It will climb up to like 30 meters and it will fly straight to your home point. But now with this advanced return to home, the drone is smart enough to understand the surrounding area, and it will not like climb randomly. It will just walk through the buildings, as this video is showing. It can now maneuver, if I may say, in the between the buildings, for example. The other thing is the APAS system. The version is 5, so it's a system called Advanced Pilot Assistance System. What we'll do is we'll boost up, as I mentioned, it will work with the obstacle sensors to understand the surrounding area, and it will give the drone the ability to bypass the obstacles. So see, in the traditional ways, when the drone is sensing an obstacle like in front, it will brake. It will only brake, and the pilot will have to like change the direction of the drone. But now you have the option to bypass this obstacle by itself. It's smart enough to bypass, as this video is showing as well. See how it's bypassing the obstacles smartly. And of course, you will have to keep monitoring the drone while it's doing this, because it's a machine at the end. You need to monitor everything. So since we have the high quality wide angle camera in the E version, now the surveying capability of the drone has been efficient more comparing to the old version. So a very big sensor, 0.7 interval photo, like we can take a photo every 0.7, and we can add the RTK module. The good thing is, since the batteries is bigger now, you will be able to fly it up to 43 minutes. So that means you will be able to cover 2 square kilometers per flight. All right. So and when you add the charging hub, if you have the charging hub, it will charge like up to 3 batteries at the same time. So that means that you will increase the distance that can be covered with a drone in a single project. And as I said, it can take the RTK module. The RTK stands for real-time kinematic. You will connect it to the base station to receive the GPS correction and to make the drone more stable in a scenario. I will mention it in the next slide. It is important to have the RTK connection. And we can get now, since we are doing the surveying, we can get the centimeter level of accuracy, because the drone has the time sync system that will help in achieving this centimeter level of accuracy. And we have the mechanical shutter to, as I told you, to avoid any distortion of the photo. So this is like a table that is mentioning what are the errors that you will achieve without a GCP, without using a ground sample distance, ground control point. You will be able to achieve a really high accurate data. And it's mentioning here, it's almost the same level as the Matrix 300 with P1. Okay, what are the accessories that we have? We have the new RC Pro Enterprise controller, 5.5 inches, 1000 CD per meter per square meter. The battery lifetime is like up to 3 hours. And it has the mini HDMI here, so if you want to like put the footage in a bigger monitor, for example, now you can achieve that. And as I mentioned, we have the accessories, the RTK module. You can put it on top of the drone to give the ability to receive the GPS correction from the base station or from the in-trip. The other thing is the speaker. We have the speaker as well. I don't have them here, unfortunately, but the speaker is here. We can mount it as well on top of the drone to have the ability to, because the controller had a microphone, so you can speak and live stream directly. The other thing is the cellular module. To be honest, I'm not sure if it's available in our region or no, but it will give the drone the ability to connect to 4G, all right? And then you are not depending on the transmission system. You are not depending on the O3 enterprise. You are depending on the SIM card connection, on the 4G, so you can increase the distance that the drone can fly to. And about the softwares, we have 4 main softwares that you can use with the drone. The first one is the Pilot 2. It's really important to fly whether it's if you want to fly the drone manually or whether if you want to do mission planning. It is important to use the Pilot 2, which is the official software from DJI. And we have the DJI Terra, which is very useful to process the data. If we do a surveying, the surveying means we will take photos in the field, then we will take like the SD card, put it in the laptop, and the Terra will start stitching these photos to give us a 2D or 3D model. As we will see in the next slides, we have several examples to show. And the third one is the Flight Hub 2. This is a platform for managing the fleet that we have, the drone fleet that we have, and we can do several things. We will be mentioning it in the slides as well. And the last application is the thermal analysis tool. This is useful with the Mavic 3T version to be able to analyze the photos that we took from the drone. It's a software in the laptop. You will take the images as well, you will upload them, and you will start analyzing with different tools to help you analyzing the photos. And if you are a developer, if you are in the R&D team, if you are in a university, the drone is open to develop. You can develop your own application, you can develop your own payload, for example, because the SDK is here, the software development kit is here. We have the mobile SDK, we have the payload SDK, and the cloud API SDK is here as well. The cloud API, for example, if you don't want to develop your own mobile application, but you need, for example, the live stream, it is possible now with the cloud API. You will have the link, you will attach it in whatever you like destination you want, and you will have the live stream directly from the drone to your destination. The use cases now, where we can use the drone. As I mentioned, we have the 2 versions. The T version can be utilized or used in a specific way, and the E version, it will be used for different application. So, but in general, we are using the drone in public safety. We are using the drone in the surveying sector, in the inspection, in the oil and gas. So let me start with the first example is the 3D model that's been used from this drone. So the drone flew in a template. This is in China, I think. I took the photos. It's like 724 photos. And then, as I said, the Terra will build the 3D construction of these photos. So I used 3 batteries with the drone, with the Mavic 3E, of course, because in the surveying methods, I will be in need to use the Mavic 3 Enterprise. So I used 3 batteries only. I covered almost, it took 2 flights to cover all of the area and 724 photos. So here is a video is playing. You can see is this is a template. It's playing. What happened? So this is a region of interest. I call it an ROI of the building. So basically, you will see in the next slide that the drone flew in a bigger distance, and then I can decide what I need from this distance. For example, I need only this building. So Terra can understand that this is the region of interest. So it will reconstruct the 3D model only in this region of interest. So this is the video that I was mentioning. You will see that it's a very big distance. very big area that the drone built. So this is the 3D model from the DJI Terra. See how high quality is the footage and the model. And then after this, you will be able to take the measurements and even export this model to another software, because the formats are the standard formats that you can take from the DJI Terra. Stunning, amazing. All right. And other than the 3D model, of course, we can build a 2D model, or we call it orthomosaic. So as you can see from the presentation, it's an orthomosaic recording, a video recording how the drone is taking the pictures, and then easily the DJI Terra will build a 2D map for you. So it's a 1 kilometer, square kilometer. As I mentioned, you can cover in a single battery, you can cover up to 2 square kilometers. And per day, you will be able to cover 15 to 18 square kilometers. You will be need like 4 or 5 batteries with you, fully charged. GCP free without using any ground control point. We achieved 3.2 centimeter horizontally accuracy and around 7 centimeter vertically, without using any GCP or ground control point. Another example is to do an inspection in a highway. So we can take a 3D model of a highway, and then we can analyze the results in the office, if there are any cracks in the road, any cracks in the sided. So you will be having a very useful insight from the 3D model. You can see from this video, this is the reconstructed 3D model of the road. So this is really useful for the municipalities, for the land departments, to have a better idea if they are planning to construct a new roads, but to study the soil, the cracks of the sided soil. Yep, a lot of different insights that you can take from this model. I mentioned before the Flight Hub 2. So the Flight Hub 2 is a platform that you will be able to manage your fleet. Like imagine you have like multiple drones, and you want a platform to manage all of these drones in a single screen. So from the drones, the drone will be able to transfer the data directly to a cloud storage from DJI. Then you will be able to see this data, whether it's like photos or videos, or even it's a live stream. You'll be able to see it from, like, for example, from the office, from the command center, or even from your mobile devices or the iPads, for example. And it's not only about the live streaming or like taking the photos or transferring the photos or the data. It's like about the management. You will be able, if you have a crew or a pilot, you will be able to manage these crews. Like you can, one example, you can say one pilot will fly in area A, the other pilot will fly in area B, the third one area Z, and all of them, while they are flying, you will be able to see them flying, and even sending them commands to follow this path or follow this pinpoint. So it's increasing the efficiency of the flights. But we're not only depending on the phones or only on the walkie-talkie to giving the commands. Now in one platform we can do that, and the pilot will understand where to go and what to do. So here is an example of a drone while it's flying in an area, and from the top footage you can see that from the platform, from the Flight Hub 2, you can see the path that the drone is following or moving on. And from the bottom footage, you can see the live streaming directly from the drone to the office without any delays. Of course, we will be in need in the field to have an internet connection to have the ability to live stream or send the data. Another example with the Flight Hub 2 is once we did the reconstruction in Terra, we can upload it to Flight Hub 2, and then we have it as a reference in the platform, and we can open it from anywhere. We are not only depending on our device, because the Terra will be bounded in only one device, but since you uploaded it to the cloud or to the Flight Hub 2, you will be able to open this 3D model anywhere, since you have the connection. The other part is, now we were mentioning about the Mavic 3E, the surveying and the 3D modeling. The other part is to use the drone with the inspection, for the inspection purpose. So since the drone, the Mavic 3T, has a thermal camera and has the wide angle and the tele camera, we can really use it, and it will be very useful in the inspection work. Here is an example of pylons and the power lines inspection. See how we are using the zooming camera along with the thermal inspection, the thermal camera, sorry. So you will be having a more insight or awareness about the situation there. Is there any abnormal heating in any point? You will use a side-by-side footage to have a better observation, a better insights, if I may say, about the area there. So the Mavic 3T is really perfect for the inspection work. Another example, as you can see from the video here, the drone is inspecting power lines, the insulators, and as you can see, it's not applying any zooming for now. The zooming is 1x, so the drone is approaching the power lines. For this, if I want to approach like power lines, for example, you know that the power lines produce a high amount of electromagnetic interference. So the drone in this scenario will not be stable. How we will make it stable in these scenarios? We will be in need to connect the drone to the RTK network. So I mentioned before, the drone as an accessory, you can add on top an RTK receiver, and then you can connect to a base station. Then the drone will be depending on the base station to receive the GPS correction. Thus, the drone will be more stable in such scenarios. In a scenarios where you find yourself, you need to approach or to get more closer to the objects. Another thing is to use the thermal camera in the public safety or in the law enforcement. So imagine someone is lost somewhere in the sea, in the forest, or some criminal is hiding somewhere. We might need to use the thermal camera in a lot of scenarios during the nighttime, for example, because the temperature of the human being is, well, we know all, it will be, you can differentiate between the, like the sea temperature and our temperature, so you will notice them. So I have an example here about the side-by-side footage that you can have with the controller. See from the, there is a person is hiding behind the trees. We can see it clearly in the thermal camera, whereas in the RGB camera, it's not clear enough. Maybe we have to zoom in more in the RGB camera to notice that someone is moving. But the thermal, you can notice clearly that someone is there, even when he's behind the trees. So this is one of the benefits of using the thermal camera, of course, along with the RGB camera side by side. You can now enable, as I mentioned, the synchronized zooming to have the synchronized zooming with the thermal and the zooming camera together to have a better idea about what is going on in the scenario that you are flying in. Let's do some comparison between the new version and the old versions. So this is a comparison with Mavic 3E and Phantom 4 RTK. So since both of them are now being used for the surveying applications, so it's better to compare the Mavic 3E with the Phantom 4 RTK. So the most important thing is the sensor size is much bigger in the E version Mavic 3E, and the pixel size is 3.3 micrometer, whereas in the Phantom 4 RTK it was only 2.4. And see, here is the difference in the interval of the photo, 0.7 second in the Mavic 3E. This is really a game changer thing, whereas in the Phantom 4 RTK is 2.5 second only. And now we can shoot in RAW with the Mavic 3E. This is a useful thing if you want to do a post-processing to your photos. Now you have the ability to access the RAW format, and it has the ability to shoot a 360 panorama image. In one image, you will have the 360 of your area in one image. Then you can zoom in, zoom out to see or to have a better awareness of the area that you are flying in. And the drone, as I mentioned, the Mavic 3E, it has the APAS system that will give the drone the ability to bypass the obstacles, along with the telecamera that will give you the 56 zooming capability. Whereas in the Phantom 4 RTK, there are no APAS system, there are no zooming camera. The Mavic 3T, if we want to compare it, we will compare it with the older brother, the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced. So the things that been enhanced in the M3T is the speed. It can fly up to 8 meters per second in the sport mode. The transmission system is enhanced. We are using the O3 Enterprise now. The drone can go up to 15 kilometers. And the battery, of course, the battery has been enhanced a lot, 5,000 milliampere per hour, and it will give you around 45 minutes of flying. Amazing. With the Mavic 2 Enterprise, it was only like 30 minutes maximum. And the wind resistance, of course, has been improved to scale 6. Now it can take up to or stand up to 12 meters per second. The obstacle sensors, of course, we have the omnidirectional obstacle sensor to increase the safety of the drone. For these things, both applicable to the Mavic 3T and Mavic 3E. What else? Yeah, this is about the camera. The cameras in the Mavic 3T, we have the wide, we have the tele, and the thermal, whereas in the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, we have only the wide and the thermal. And the wide angle and the tele camera, both are half-inch sensor size, the same as the sensor size of the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced. The zooming capability has been increased, 56 hybrid zooming, whereas in the Mavic 2 Enterprise Advanced, we have only the 32 digital zooming, or both can shoot 4K 30 frames per second. All right, I think we covered all of the features about the new drone. Let's see if we have any questions, and we will answer you, of course. And like in, let's see first if we have a question, and I will ask you guys, whoever is watching, I will ask you one question, and the first one who answered this, we will give you a gift from Advanced Media. We will give you a land pad so you can land your drone safely. So let's see first if we have any questions. No questions, I think. All clear? I don't see anything in the chat box. Anything, Sharif, with you? No? Do you have any question? طيب. Let me ask you one question. Ready? The first one who will answer this will get land pad from Advanced Media for your drone. So the question is, in a simple words, I want you to tell me what is the difference between Mavic 3T and Mavic 3E. The first one who's answering the simple answer, I will give them the gift. The difference between the Mavic 3T and the Mavic 3E. Easy. No answers? I don't see anything. Do you have any answers, Sharif?
Muhammad said RTK.
He said RTK. The difference is the RTK. No, both can take the the RTK module. So the Mavic 3E and the Mavic 3T, both you can put on top the RTK module. No problems. Any another? But by the way, I didn't see the answers in my chat box. So Sharif, I need your help. Do we have any other answer?
Said no thermal camera on M3E.
No thermal camera on the... Wow, bravo. This is the answer. Exactly. Congratulations. Congratulations. You got the land pad from Advanced Media. By the way, do we have any other answers or no? Do we have any, Sharif, any other answers? No one? Do you want to answer? I will give you land pad. Anyway, thank you everyone for joining us in our today's webinar. Hope it was helpful for you, and of course, see you in the next webinars. We will be announcing anything that we will have in our Instagram page for the drones at amt.tv. Follow us and stay tuned for the next ones, and see you soon. Fly safe.